Hey guys, Dazzler Magic here, and it is finally time for the final chapter of the whatever set this even was, probably M19 storyline. I'm a little late. I mean, if I recall, Guilds of Ravnica came out, but let's wrap this crap up. So the last chapter ended with Nicol Bolas, who was in drag as a pregnant human woman, revealed his identity and used his evil mind magic to convince Naeva to grab her knife and put it to her twin sister Baisha's throat. Oh my god, I spelled sister incorrectly in my notes. Okay, I wrote this script in two parts while I was busy not working my other job, and both of them were probably around 11 at night, which is early for me. How is this so bad? Anyway, just then, Ugin's ghost or whatever, I don't know, whatever the crap is going on here, stopped her because, duh. Yeah, I totally didn't see that coming. What a suspenseful cliffhanger the last chapter ended on. So she was all like, oh crap, what am I doing? Oh, Bolas mind magic. So just then Grandma Yasova woke up and was like, what are you doing, Naeva? You got a knife to your sister's throat. And she was like, I don't know. Nothing. So the Hedrons that surrounded them in the little tunnel thing that they were in were all like shielded and all magic, couldn't get through something. I don't know. They didn't really keep it consistent, just spoiler alert. But they were like temporarily free from Nicol Bolas's influence and awareness. But like I said, not for long. I guess I'd just stick with me. So she told Grandma about Mevra actually being Bolas, and she's like, wow, that sucks. And Grandma was like, Nicol Bolas who? And she's like, the Nicol Bolas that killed Ugin. And she's like, oh, that Nicol Bolas. I know so many. So she's like, is that the one that told you to kill your sister? And she's like, kill my sister? What a crazy idea. I didn't do that. It wasn't even me. I wasn't even here. What you talking about? That never happened. You must have dreamed it. Okay, yeah, I was going to stab her in the neck. Oh, and by the way, this is extremely important because the author forgets it later. So keep this in mind. She did actually very slightly cut her sister's neck, and there was a small amount of blood. Remember that. Then anyway, she like kind of snapped out of him, and she's like, I don't know, I don't remember, who knows, I was probably stabbing her for a good reason, but no, I'm supposed to bring you, grandmother, to him. He wants you. And still, we actually really never found out specifically why. Another spoiler alert. Then she's like, well, he will get me, rawr. And then she's all, you can't go out there, he'll kill you. And then she's like, yeah, that's likely. No, literally, she says, that's likely. Should have brought you dragon repellent. So great plans so far, but wait, it gets better. One of them proposes that they wait there until he, quote, gets bored and goes away. I assume that was sarcastic. You know, like, I think we should do that. Haha, just kidding, I'm joking, we should not do that. Although, honestly, he kind of seems like the type. So Naeva tells Grandma that Bolas said if he doesn't bring her to him, he'll destroy the entire plane of Tarkir, and Grandma thinks that might be reasonably plausible, actually. So, anyone still wondering if he actually could do it? Like, I'm actually wondering that. That seems like a tall order even for him. I mean, he's clever and stuff, and he knows magic, but, like, that would take just about the whole plane worth of mana, and I don't think that's reasonable, especially post-mending. Well, post-mending, you can't draw mana from other planes, although they've said exactly the opposite later. So maybe he'd just use a buttload of mana or some really cool magic, or maybe he's just going to stack his deck and cheat, ha ha ha. So they're trying to come up with a plan. Plan A was to lie to him and say that she couldn't find Grandma in the tiny tunnel. Yep. After which he'd probably blow up the entire plane. So plan B was to try to find a way to outsmart him. Good luck with that. He's basically Niv Mizzet. Okay, so that's the one they went with, by the way. Oh, and hey, fun little fact they threw in, and they threw in a couple little details like this that are very interesting. Apparently, Ugin taught different magic to all the tribes when he was still alive and living on Tarkir. So, like the ghost fire stuff to the Ojutai people, which weren't Ojutai people at the time, although time travel, who the hell knows. And so now the story gets really interesting. So Grandma reveals what she's been hiding all this time. She is actually also Bolas in disguise. Just kidding. He only goes in drag as pregnant women. Everybody knows that. Actually, she helped Bolas many, many, many years ago, like before the twins were even born. I think before their mom was born. She helped him find Ugin because he promised her an end to the dragons ruling over Tarkir, which they're dicks, by the way, in case you forgot. I guess by find Ugin, they mean like find Ugin's grave, although that could have been when the fight happened. I don't really know. The timeline is really messed up, like even without time travel. So apparently, and get ready for this stretch of logic in the story, Ugin spent so much time, I guess, and had so much influence on Tarkir, or like, then he had like baby kids there or something, I don't know. whatever happened, he worked himself into the soul of the entire plane. So I guess that's how they think he can still communicate, even though he's like technically dead, unless he isn't. Spoiler alert number 17. We never find out. But yeah, if Bolas somehow like destroys the Hedrons, which they also doubt he can do, but then also think he could do, a lot of consistency in the story. He'd destroy Ugin's essence, which I guess is bones. They weren't real clear about that. And then the entire plane and all the dragons on it would die for some reason, I guess. Sure. So they decide that all their plans sucked, and Granny told Naeva to take Baisha's hand again to see what the rest of Ugin's message was, so that maybe they'd know how to take on Bolas or make him go away or something. So then we get the end of like the memory story, I guess. So Ugin's just hanging out in the mirror place and thinking, well, at least Bolas can't escape Dominaria. Like, he totally ruined the whole plane, but he can't leave, and there's a multiverse, so, you know, whatever. Let's just write off that crap hole. Just then, Bolas suddenly shows up in the mirror realm, or I should call it what it actually is, the contemplation plane. I actually forgot what it's called. So he immediately just attacks him with all kinds of magic and some crazy spells and stuff, and they're yelling at each other, and I'll spare you Bolas's nonsense and just summarize this as he's spouting off his own warped perception of how things went down, because he's practically crazy. Now, Ugin was more into, like, defense, and, because remember, for 5,000 years, he learned a bunch of spells and traveled around and stuff, and now he knows all 5 colors of magic, which is fantastic. But he learned, like, defense, investigation, and learning magic, but basically all magic except for attack magic. Whoops. So he real quick planeswalked to Zendikar to buy some time, but Bolas somehow follows him, so then he not walks, but planeswalks to a place called Kefalai. I don't know where that is. And then after that, Ravnica. Hey, I know where that is. And then he's still being followed by Bolas. By the way, Bolas appears to be using some kind of like dragon paralyzing magic, like a spell similar to the poison that was on the huge spears back in Dominaria, so that's kind of neat. And it starts to kind of get to Ugin since he got some glancing blasts from it and he doesn't really know like where to hide. So he starts to randomly wonder like what the meditation plane actually is, since it's not actually a plane, but it's also not the blind eternities, I guess. So he returns there. I guess it's because story. I mean, that particular line of thinking right at that time doesn't really make sense logically. That's like getting into a gunfight in the middle of it, just suddenly thinking, hey, who did actually build Stonehenge, though? Like, what? I mean, out of all the thin, pointless, illogical premises to travel back to that, we'll say, plane, why does thinking, I wonder who built it and why? Like, what is it? How do you even get from 1 to 2 on that? Anyway, he remembers something that Teju Ki said about death. You know, it's that monk guy that, I don't know, Ugin learned from or whatever. He said death is not necessarily the end, and I don't know, that's convenient for the story, I guess, whatever. So we all remember that Sarkhan traveled back in time, right, and saved Ugin at the last second. So, I mean, I didn't read the Tarkir storyline, but I distinctly remember hearing that point. I think it was in the Fat Pack book. So I'm still not getting how that fits in, whatever. So, by the way, the card art of Pool of Becoming is supposed to be the meditation realm. Oh, yeah, that's what they called it. So it's not plane, it's a realm. There's a difference, I guess. Maybe there'll be realm walkers. I don't know. So it clearly on the artwork has human-built structures or some kind of constructed structures that are now in ruins and, like, fallen down. But they're made out of, like, bricks and stuff. It's like buildings. So, I mean, it kind of seems like a normal plane where people used to live, but it's like super magic and not normal. The physics are all weird and nothing's real or something. I don't know. Plus, Vraska, you might recall, I believe, traveled there before, and she didn't think it was anything too special. She's like, oh, there's water. Cool. Okay, whatever. And I wouldn't, look too much into continuity with the art and the storyline or any kind of consistency because it's just not there. But would I want to see a set that takes place on that realm instead of a plane? Hell yeah. They could do like some weird crap, like some way out of left field stuff. I think that'd be kind of cool. I mean, they'd probably screw it up, but anyway, Ugin dies. Just to skip to the end here. He falls into the water of the meditation plane, and as they put it, because I got to read this directly, the disturbance washes far beyond the bounds of the meditation realm. in, by the way, capital letters, that's the actual name of it, I guess, spilling into the fathomless dark cavity whose infinite web connects the planes themselves. So in other words, the space between planes while you're planeswalking the blind eternities where the Eldrazi live. So all the water splashed out of the realm and into the blind eternities. That makes sense. And then there was a shockwave. Don't ask me why, because I don't have an answer for you. And it blasts Bolas back to Dominaria. And I think in Bolas's account, he went through like a whole bunch of planes. It was like a huge shockwave. So apparently this realm has something really important to do with like the structure and the interweaving of the planes, which is very interesting. So the Meditation Realm had all of its water completely blasted out of place. In fact, let me quote this. Nothing moves because nothing remains. A moment passes a year, a generation, which is odd because nobody lives there, a millennium, or maybe no time at all. Thanks for that. That really helps me establish a timeline. I suspect that at that point, even they just gave up. They're just like, I don't know. 1,000 years, let's just say we have no idea and it'll sound poetic. Screw it. But then, after an indeterminate amount of time, the water finally starts creeping back in from the untouchable web of darkness. I assume that's the blind eternities, whatever that is, who knows. So then an unnamed dragon comes back with the water. He comes with it, I guess, and isn't sure if he has a physical form or if he's a spirit. Ooh, big reveal. They finally tell you it's Ugin. Oh, wow, who else would it be? Freaking Roseanne Barr? No, it's Ugin. I mean, what the hell did you expect? Plus, Roseanne got kicked out of the Meditation Realm for making off-color comments. Everybody knows that. Now, at this point, if you're wondering, what the hell does the grave on Tarkir have to do with anything in the entire Tarkir storyline and the fight between him and Ugin and Bolas on Tarkir? We're actually going to get to that later. I mean, at this point, I had completely given up. I just the story making 1 ounce of sense. I had given up all hope, but they do come back around and it makes a little bit of sense later. So just hang on to something. So the lightning round of memories start hitting the twins because remember they're like somehow in the meditation realm, which seems to be tied to Ugin's spirit because it resurrected him. So like that's how he's doing memories, and then they're bubbles. I don't know. Who cares? So yeah, they find out that Bolas is like planning in the meditation realm. He's just like sitting there after Ugin got resurrected and left, I guess. And he's thinking, what should I do about the multiverse to make them all think that I'm the greatest and the mostest or whatever, or not the least. I don't remember his stupid term. Then they see Ugin meeting with Azor on Ravnica, and they're like, hey, we should do a trap. That would be awesome. They also hint that Ugin's soul truly lies partially within Tarkir, which is why he didn't completely die, because he died, like, not in Tarkir, I guess. But, like, they seem to imply later that if he dies on Tarkir, then he dies for real, even though he still didn't. Anyway, Ugin wants to trap Bolas on Tarkir, which, for the reason I literally just said, is incredibly stupid. Azor even tells him that, and dangerous, because that's where his soul is. Like, you wouldn't want to trap him where he can kill you for real, I guess. That's his last Horcrux, is Tarkir, I guess. So, I mean, I kind of get it. Like, Ugin did, in fact, lure him there because he showed up there and fought him. But it was, like, before the Immortal Sun could be placed there, I guess. So, he showed up early or something? I don't remember. They explained this in Ixalan, and I literally just forgot. I think Azor screwed something up, or he got stuck there, activated it, or who knows. Whatever. So, Ugin fought Bolas again, and then this time, this is like the Sarkhan one. I don't know. They don't even mention Sarkhan. Actually, they do, and it makes even less damn sense. So, I don't know. Like, Ugin dies because Bolas killed him. Whatever. I'm still not over the fact that Ugin died twice, and that has somehow never come up in the storyline that I've ever heard about, which is why I was deeply confused. Oh, and random fun fact thrown in, the little gem thing between Bolas's horns, which is not in the earlier pictures and it's in the later one, they actually explain what that is. It's a magical artifact that shows him what he lacks and what he does not yet possess. So it kind of points him in the direction of something like powerful that he'd be interested in, I guess. It's a little vague the way they put it, but that actually sounds kind of neat, and now we know. I thought that it was some kind of like spark he stole from someone else, and then that's the container, because, I mean, how else did he become a planeswalker? Spoiler alert number 147, they don't explain it. I mean, doesn't that seem so Bolas? Like, he would just raise up a bunch of sorcerers or whatever in his little Dominaria town city thing, and then wait for one of them to become a planeswalker, and then just steal their spark, because I think Karn stole somebody's spark, so that's a thing that can happen, I guess. So the whole fight was supposed to like stall Bolas, I guess, by the way, until the no planeswalking trap could be sprung, but it never showed up because, I don't know, Azar got stuck there, I think? I don't remember. So Ugin activates his little Soul of Tarkir abilities to summon a ton of the dragons that live there, which are, by the way, his kids. But Bolas somehow like turns the dragons against Ugin with his little evil mind magic, and then once they like swarmed him and overpowered him, then Bolas delivers a killing blow and planeswalks away. Then, for literally no reason, the entire last memory, that whole shebang, starts looping again, because the bubble hits them again on the meditation plane where they're not, because they aren't planeswalkers. Yeah, I don't get it either. But then the mental playback memory was interrupted by a mental image of Bolas's claw, like dragging them out of the dream in the sleeping state, which Bolas doesn't acknowledge later. He doesn't know that they're there for sure, I think. Maybe Naeva told him. And then how can he project his magical influence inside the Hedron tunnel, where he has no magical influence? And also, they basically stole this from Freddy Krueger. Anyway, they filled in Grandma, because they're all awake now. So they filled her in on what they saw, and she's just like, neat. So, since that entire vision was pointless and taught them history with zero practical plan on how to stop Bolas or make him go away, in fact, it's literally a story about how to screw up stopping Bolas, Grandma's like, well, we better go tell Bolas where I am so he can maybe piss off. Because remember, he wanted her for some reason. The only reason they ever stayed is that she helped him find Ugin in the past, and then they're traveling to his grave, so they must be in contact with him somehow, so then he wants to talk to her, I guess. I don't know. Nothing really comes of it, by the way. This whole damn chapter doesn't make an ounce of sense. But Grandma's like, okay, hey, Naeva, since you clearly suck at resisting Bolas's mind magic, Baisha is going to dress as you and go out pretending to be you. Hey, remember when I told you to remember that she has like a cut along her neck that's probably still bleeding? Naeva didn't have that when she walked in, so why would she have it when she walked out? But the author completely forgot that the first thing Bolas would say is, why is there a cut on your neck? I don't think you're Naeva. Oops, I dropped the knife and then fell on it. Yeah, I don't think so. So anyway, they swap mantles, whatever that is, and like necklaces and crap, whatever. They basically swap clothes, and they think it will fool him because, I mean, he would have no reason to probe Baisha's mind to figure out that she's not Naeva because he would have no reason to suspect it in the first place. It would be like a waste of effort. So that's interesting. And the whole thing is like Baisha knows magic and she knows how to deflect magic so she won't be affected by his little mind magic, whatever. But seriously though, what happened with Sarkhan? I in the time travel, I'm just gonna have to read it, aren't I? Whatever. So Granny and fake Naeva tell Bolas, they climb out of the tunnel by the way, that he's been bamboozled. But then Bolas is like, I cannot be bamboozled. Nobody bamboozles a bamboozler. But they're like, nah, you came back to see if he was dead, but just like last time when he thought he was dead, but then he came back as liquid like that one Terminator movie, he just bamboozled you yet again with a second round of shenanigans. Balderdash, he says. Fool me once, shame on Ugin, but fool me twice. Such a thing is impossible. I have built up an immunity to secondary bamboozlement. But discount pretend Naeva is all like, nah, you saw him die and stuff, but then why did you come back to see if he was dead if you think he's dead? It really honestly doesn't make sense. I mean, she's got a point there. We both knew you came back to make absolutely sure that he didn't pull some chicanery on you for a second time. So then, for a reason that is never stated, Bolas just sort of flies away, makes a bunch of magic wind and lightning appear, and then lands. Doesn't say, oh, I'm pissed, or, oh, watch out for my storm. No, he literally just does it and has zero explanation. I don't know, just sounds like a Bolas temper tantrum to me, but, whatever. He has a different personality in every set based on who writes the story, just saying. So then he says, do not mess with me, or so help me, I will drop a nuke on this craptastic crap plane. So apparently he mad, bro. And they're just like, whatever you do here wouldn't stop Ugin's plan, though. I'm just saying, just throwing that out there. I mean, if he's not here, you blow this up, doesn't matter. Even though they already stated that he knows that Ugin's essence is there, and if he can get through the Hedrons, he can destroy his essence, and okay. So like, yeah, Ugin's plan, wherever he is, whatever he's doing, you should probably get on that. And then they remind him that there's always a bigger power than him, like not even implying that it would be Ugin, just like in general, like you open your fortune cookie, you're like, there's always a bigger power. Which is, by the way, of course, logically incorrect, because if there's one thing I learned from DBZ, at a certain point there has to be a most powerful being in the multiverse, to whom this statement would not apply. There would not always be a bigger, more powerful one because it's them. There just isn't. So anyway, he orders fake Naiva to stab Grandma to show her how powerful his magic is and how they doubt him being the most powerful because he's an egotistical psychopath. But of course it was actually Baisha who was trained in how to deflect, mental magic, and Naiva actually sitting in the Hedron tunnel, which is completely unaffected by Nicol Bolas' magic and completely out of his sphere of influence. Remember that. She suddenly, gets hit by the mental magic. She's like, yeah, he has a good point. I really should jump out of the tunnel and stab Grandma and blow her cover. That sounds like a great thing to do. Okay, stay in your little rock tunnel, you crazy lady. But just then, her sister outside the tunnel, who's dressed as her, snaps her out of it with her comment, and this is gold: maybe I don't want to hunt. Maybe nothing you offer tempts me, because from everything I've heard, you're stuck in the past, circling around your rivalry with Ugin. So she goes from, I need to kill Grandma, to, burn. And then, like the complete toddler that Bolas is, he just simply replies, I am not stuck. And then Grandma tells him, and this is all news to me, so I guess this is part of the lie that they're planning, you're standing right where the Hedrons concentrate magical force into a nexus of great power. The immortal sun is pointed here at this very spot on Tarkir. It will drag you to another plane and there trap you for all eternity, which, by the way, is not even how that works. Why do you think we've kept you talking all this time so it can be activated and you'll never planeswalk again? Just pretend I went and played that clip from Lost. I'm too lazy. Don't you ever tell me what I can't do. Okay, anyway. And then, no joke, Grandma and Baisha are like, oh, I think I feel the artifact activating. Do you feel it? Yeah, I feel it. It's vibrating, maybe. Oh, Bolas is about to be bamboozled so hard. We got a level 99 ray of bamboozlement inbound from the immortal sun for sure. Oh, look, is that a light in the sky? There's a second sun in the heavens. Wait a minute, that's Amonkhet. Isn't the second sun is an Amonkhet reference? That has nothing to do with the immortal sun. It's not literally a sun. Do they think it's literally a sun? Anyway, okay, at this point, they've even got me confused with what they're saying, but they're like, this might freak him out enough that he'd be like, oh, they're trying to trap me. Okay, bye. And yeah, Bolas just roars, which collapses some snow and rock and crap into the canyon, and he planeswalks away in a big gold blast of light because, can't be too safe. So Naiva crawls out of the tunnel and is like, oh crap, Baisha and Granny got blown up or whatever. They're dead for sure. But as you probably suspected after 1 second of me saying that, they dramatically make an entrance from a pocket of safety between two conveniently fallen boulders. Although they do actually say that it's like Baisha's magic that shielded it. It wasn't just luck, like two big rocks TPing or whatever. So finally, Naiva asks the question of them, and may I remind you, this has technically not actually been resolved. Is Ugin actually dead or not? And then, of course, Grandma gives some, ridiculous reply about, all things die, but it's not the same as an ending, and dying doesn't mean ending, and like, that's it. They just leave it at that. So, she must have exchanged emails with that Teku Jinjai guy, whatever, that guy in Dominaria that said something literally exactly the same as that. So let's cut the crap here. Okay, Ugin's going to be in the third Ravnica set and probably in like a robot body or something. Okay, blowing the lid off that one. So since rocks are still falling, they bail out and join up with their party because they don't want to get crushed after that wonderfully convenient save. Naiva still has a crush on the Ojutai Ghost Fireblade guy, Taejin or whatever. And he actually immediately recognizes her, even though they like swapped clothes. He's like, "Oh no, you can't get one by me. I've traveled with you long enough to know that you guys are slightly different." And I guess she gets all flattered, and then her whole family embarrasses her. And then he's blushing, and yeah, I would have punched my whole family in the face at that point. So then Naiva says it's a shame they didn't convince Bolas to kill all the Dragon Lords before he left, but hey, because, that was actually kind of part of the plan, sort of. But hey, you know what they say, the best laid plans, and I don't remember the rest of that. If ifs and buts were bolts and nuts, then I'd have about 350. I don't think that's how the saying goes, but I left it in anyway. So they're all just like, whatever, we're alive and everything's the same as it was last week and last month, so whatevs, at least Bolas is gone and we talked to Ugin. Yay. But the most important part is to go steal the liver and hearts from the broodling that died in like chapter 2. No, seriously, like I didn't make that up. They're like, I mean, okay, my fellow RPG players out there are like, yeah, I know, right? You got to go back and loot them bodies. I mean, you can get some mad alchemy done with like dragon internal organs. I mean, come on. So like for real, I can get with that. So they start making some carvings to update like the little history cave, that little protected enchanted cave thing with like all the carvings and the tusks, like saying the real history that the dragons don't want you to know. So Feck the orc starts, carving stuff to like, show what happened and who talked to who. Nicobol is going away just so people would know what's up, Oh, and they get that Tay Jin guy to stay for a couple months to recover. And because he has a giant crush on Naiva, but he does intend to go back because he said, yeah, I gotta go back to my master, my trainer, whatever, in Ojutaiville and tell him all what happened and why I was sent on the journey. He'd kind of get concerned if he never came back. But then maybe he'd, come back after that, probably. I don't know, we'll never find out. They ain't coming back to this crap plane. And then it ends with them saying they should still try to kill the Dragon Lords. Maybe they will come back, who knows. By the way, zero explanation of what Sarkhan did or how he fit into this, with one exception. Grandma did say near the end of the story that she met him once, because they were talking about, are all planeswalkers dragons? Can anybody learn this planeswalking thing? And they're like, well, no, but I met one and he was a human and he was kind of a dick anyway. So like she met him and now she knows what planeswalkers are, I guess, or whatever. That's cool. That would have been nice to know a while ago. But I know he went back in time 1,000 years to the fight between Ugin and Bolas, and then he saved Ugin at the last second. Like, I remember reading that somewhere, unless I'm wrong, so I'm probably just gonna have to go back and read the damn thing. Like, that somehow allowed the Dragon Lords to exist, because I guess they were offspring from Ugin, and then he, like, was alive, but now in this whole story he was dead, so I don't get it. Like, this all sounds nice, but I'm one of those big picture people where I've been reading the stories for like 2-3 years. I want to start putting them together, you know what I mean? And right now, all the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put this narrative back together again. Also, nowhere in that story did they ever say Humpty Dumpty was an egg. So that's dark. So anyway, that is the end of the M19 storyline, unless you count some, Vivian crap that I'm not going to read because I heard it's just a bunch of SJW fantasy BS. Oh, look at me, I can lead the clan without a man, and I'm so independent. Woo, I can hold my baby while fighting. That's somebody called Child Protective Services. So anyway, not reading that. Absolutely not. Never gonna happen. Maybe I'll continue this series. I mean, it's so low views, but it's a really high view duration. So I might actually permanently move this to my second channel because I need to get to 4,000 hours per year, actually. Year. Yes, I said year. This channel gets over 60 million view hours per year, and I can't even get my second one to 4,000. Probably because it's been 4 months since I uploaded. I feel like that might have something to do with it. But yeah, go over to Desolator Gaming, where I will have the completely not gaming related series of this, and I'm sure it'll get even less views. So subscribe over there. I am going to make an XL video one of these days. That'll be cool. Otherwise, thanks for watching this amazing series. Don't forget to leave a thumbs up, and I will see you guys next video.